All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Brad with More Coaching. We're talking about following your dreams and why it's important to do that. Today, I have with me one of my very good friends. He's an awesome person. He's also a fellow coach, Dave Gieselman. Thank you so much for being part of this and remembering when we first met and the journey that you've been on, and just watching you in these past 4 years has just been phenomenal. Your growth and what you offer to the world. So again, thank you for being here. Really quick, introduce yourself to the viewers and tell us what you do and why it's so important that you do this work.
Well, my name is Dave Gieselman. I own Become Limitless. That's my coaching company, and I am a former professional chef turned coach. And so I spent 30 years in high-end professional kitchens in Los Angeles. And one of the things that you learn as a chef is how to manage your nervous system, manage stress, manage overwhelm, manage your time, manage an absolutely impossible task list that still must be managed while communicating up and down, both to customers, to servers, to other cooks, to business owners, bartenders, and everything. So developing high level communication skills, developing high level emotional regulation skills, emotional intelligence. And I now teach that and I coach professionals, entrepreneurs, and creatives. If you own your own business or you're are in charge of a lot of people, you're doing something that you absolutely love, and you would like to do it with less exhaustion, less burnout, and be super confident in the way you approach it. That's what I teach.
It's awesome. And you've been such a great mentor to me. And so I just want to say thank you for all the guidance that you've provided for me. It's been extremely invaluable. So grateful.
Well, it's my pleasure, brother.
And so let's do this. Let's dive in. Tell me a little bit about what was childhood like for you, and then maybe bring that forward through high school and maybe even to current day.
For sure. So I was a middle class white kid who grew up in a middle class white household, a middle class white neighborhood, doing middle class white stuff. Like I was, really, really kind of uh, a normal kid, with the exception that I got into cooking really, really young. I learned that I had a talent for it and really enjoyed it. And I began what set my childhood apart is I began uh, cooking at age 11. I was getting paid to cook at 14.
Wow.
But I was cooking at a real high level before that. And so as a child, I found myself in adult environments. And when you find yourself as a child in adult environments, you find yourself as a child being introduced to adult things. And I, as it turns out, really like adult things. And and so I went on a journey with substance abuse. From the time I was about 15 years old, I got sober at 24. That journey took me through many kitchens. It took me through many opportunities, many people. It landed me homeless. Landed me crazy. But completely homeless with two full-time jobs in high-end kitchens in Los Angeles. Uh, with a couple of really great skills and absolutely no way of managing my own existence outside of the chaos of a kitchen. And so the the process of recovery, and I got tricked into 12-step recovery in 1999. And what was interesting to bring it forward into today. So, I mean, I was basically, 14 to 24. I was a nightmare for myself and everyone around me. I was a complete nuisance to everyone who employed me, everyone who was around me, all my friends, relatives, every police officer within 3 miles. Like, I was just a complete nuisance to everybody, except I could cook really, really, really well. And so it was like that was the one thing I kind of had to bring to the table. Um, and when I got sober, uh, my life turned around, and I began sort of reinventing and repurposing myself and sort of reestablishing and rebuilding, one of the things that was impressed upon me is it was my job to help others like me, right? And it was my job, and many, many sort of organizations and many sort of belief systems, do the same thing. As soon as as soon as you're out of the hole a little bit, your job is to turn around and reach back into the hole, right? And help the next person out. And so that's what I did. And in that is where I really found who I am. In that, I really found who I wanted to be. I found myself in a position of service to others. I found myself in a position of leadership because I began to grow and mature in ways that I never saw coming. Suddenly I'm not dipped in whiskey every day. All of a sudden I'm doing better at my job. I'm being offered leadership positions, and really beginning to grow as a human.
I mean, yeah, we've talked over the years, and you have some amazing stories, and really just again just admire how much you give back to the world. And so I'm so grateful for you to be here. So let's dig in a little bit deeper. You mentioned that you got tricked into recovery.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
This
But
one.
when did you feel that you had found your calling? So this, the speaker series is about following your dream, no matter what, no matter where you are in life, no matter what's happened in your life. And you mentioned having two jobs at high-end restaurants and being homeless at the same time. What a dichotomy, in your life at that time. And when you felt like, this is it, what was that moment, and how did that change your approach to life? So let's start with tricked into recovery, and
Mm-hmm.
then we'll move into finding your calling, and what that did for a change for you.
It's funny because all three of those things kind of have a very very similar answer, and I'll talk about. So July 25th, 1999 was the day I got sober. What I was doing is I was drinking inside a dumpster that was behind a busy bar. It was a Sunday morning, and what I was doing is I was moving every bottle from one side of the dumpster to the other, and I was polishing off the last few drops in every bottle. I was stinky. I was homeless. It was gross. It was, and I started walking down an alley, and there was some guys smoking cigarettes, and I'm just like, good bum. I asked them if I could bum a cigarette, and they said sure, and they gave me a couple, and they said, hey man, you want to come in here and sit down and get out of the sun. It was tail end of July. It was,
Hot as
LA.
fuck.
It was hot. Yeah, right. And then you want to come in here and get out of the sun. We got, free donuts and coffee and AC and whatever you want to. I'm like, well, what do you got going? And they go, it's a 12-step meeting, and I didn't know anything about anything. I'm like, well, what's that? And it was funny because they didn't lead with sobriety, they didn't lead with recovery, they didn't lead with cleaning up. They're like, you know what, dude, don't even worry about that. We got free shit. You wanna, like, they saw me coming a mile off, right? These guys saw me coming a mile off, and they were like, I'm like sun. It's a Sunday. I'm like staggering down an alley. I just crawled out of a dumpster. They're like, I wonder if he wants free donuts, and so like I went in and I went in that first meeting and realized that if I raised my hand, identify myself, that it was all the free cigarettes, donuts, and coffee that I could eat, and so I was a homeless guy with a hustle at that point, just trying to figure out how to walk and talk like a duck real quick. My biggest fears, they were going to find out I wasn't an alcoholic or whatever they were and throw me out. But it's interesting, and that's how I got tricked into recovery. Like I didn't wake up that morning with like a firm resolution never to drink again. I didn't wake up and go never again. I can't, like that wasn't my story. They were like, hey, you want to come in and have some donuts? And I'm like, yeah. And so I went in and I'm like, wow, you guys like donuts, coffee, and AC. You guys like cigarettes and hanging out, and I do too. We have a lot in common. And yeah, like I detoxed in that room. I went through massive, unsupervised, unmedicated, acute alcoholic detox in that room. I don't recommend it, but it was like they were nice to me, right? And so very similar to finding finding a passion for cooking when I was young, right? And just chasing it. And I didn't know I was chasing a dream. What I was doing was following dopamine, right? That's all I was doing. I was
Right.
following I loved cooking. I loved doing it. And the more I loved it, the more opportunities I got to do it. Right. And so I came into this group and I came into this room and they were really nice to me, and I really enjoyed people being nice to me. Right? Kitchens are not it's not a cuddly bunch. Like
No,
let me
it's
tell you,
not.
it's not a sweet and cuddly bunch. They're really cool, but they're not snuggly. Is they're not.
They're
And
not warm and
so
fuzzy.
right, they're not warm and fuzzy. But these guys were nice. These people were nice to me, right? And that felt good. And so I followed the dopamine. And then I started working with other people, working with other drug addicts, working with other alcoholics. Uh, and that was really meaningful to me. And so there wasn't this big aha moment, maybe there was later, where I was like, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. But there's always been this follow the dopamine, follow the thing that feels good. And when it shifted, because at one point it went from, I guess the realization that came around, like 2015. I was approaching 30 years in professional kitchens, and the realization came, and I was already coaching by then. I was coaching in various. I hadn't started my business, but I was already coaching, getting paid to coach, and helping people through different stuff, as well as working with drug addicts and alcoholics. And I kind of found this kind of niche in this place. I loved mentoring young cooks, and as soon as some kitchen manager or bar manager hears you giving some advice, and they go, oh man, my life is kind of a mess. Of course it is. You're a restaurant manager.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, my life is kind of a mess. I know you're a restaurant manager. I know your life's a mess. They go, well, could you offer me some advice? I go, yeah, sure, no problem. And it was the same advice I was given in early recovery. It was the same advice that I was taking. You instill a few spiritual disciplines in your life, and I'll give away the whole deal right now. If you take any random human being on earth right now, and you add prayer, meditation, and journaling to their everyday life, their life will take off like a shot. Like 30 days later, your life will be in a place where you hardly even recognize it. So like any random human, take it, add a little bit of spiritual discipline to it, and you find your life taking off. And so when I realized that this is what I realized is what is called a prime nurturer. I feed things. Like it's just what I do, right? And when I was younger, I fed things food, and now I feed people's souls, and I feed people in different ways now. I feed their minds, and I feed their souls, and I feed their curiosity and their desire to grow and to move and to whatever. But I nurture things. It is what I was born to do. I thought I was born to be a chef. Then later I thought I was born to be a coach, and none of those things are true. I was born to nurture things. And I have a fat little dog and a fat little son, and and all of these things sort of bring the evidence that what I do is I nurture things.
Amazing job. So let's do this. We talked a little bit about getting tricked into recovery. How did it change you when you really started to step into this role that you were discovering for yourself? What did it change for you? And did it feel like you were following your dream, or did it feel more like you found your calling?
You know what? It felt like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. Like it felt very natural. Um, you know, at various times in all of our lives, regardless of what you believe in, right? And I'm not here to get into a debate about who God is or where God is or what book you're supposed to find him in or any of that. At some point in our lives, almost all of us at some point just like kind of cry out and go something help me, like
Right.
whatever it is, whether it's the laws of physics, whether it's energy, whether it's manifestation, vibration, what, who cares, Yoda, something, like there's got to be something help me. And those are prayers, right? And very very early in my sobriety I was told to pray. And I had an interesting conversation about that. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I don't necessarily believe in whatever. And the guy was like, oh no, don't get it twisted. The instruction was to pray, not to believe, right? So when you pray, right? What are you doing? You are putting your hopes, fears, dreams, aspirations, you're speaking it out loud. You are setting intention, is what you are doing. And you are putting intention out into the world out loud. And that's what, like, the act of prayer is doing. Who cares where it's going? You are energetically setting intention into the universe. And so, one of those first intentions, I said, "Okay, universe, I need to make a deal with you, and I need you to keep the path lit or straight, and I don't care which." Right. So on the days where the path wasn't lit, I knew that I should just keep going, just keep doing what you're doing. And every massive left-hand turn with a cliff on the other side of it was very 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 well lit, right? When it was time for me to leave Kitchens, it was very clear. There was no question, there was no ambiguity, there was no question about this. It is time to set this piece of my identity down and step into this new role as a full-time coach, as a full-time speaker, and as a full-time healer. Like, it was very clear to me that that's what it was. And so for me, everything it there were fewer these kind of aha life shifting moments. And what there seemed to be is very life affirming moments, like, this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And you know it by how easy it is. You know it by how true and authentic it feels to you. And the idea of putting it down was absolutely painful. Like, the idea of going, no, this is probably not, because lots of people, when life coach, is that what you're doing? You're leaving behind a six-figure job in Michelin starred kitchens, right? To go really to be a life coach. Like, that's the plan. And yeah, yeah, that was planned. Yeah, yeah, that's the plan. And hearing other people say it out loud, I was like, it sounded like the plan. I'm like, yes, yes, that is the plan. That's exact. That is actually precisely what I'm doing. And and as soon as I heard it out loud, like, I recognized it. And it was really easy to attach to, and it was really easy to follow. And I tell you, man, I miss professional cooking every single day, but I wouldn't trade it for what I do on a daily basis, for anything. I would not trade my struggles. I would not trade my challenges. I would not trade the times that I absolutely went broke trying to get a business off the ground. I would not trade it. A life in service to other human beings, even one that is a financial failure, is still a life well lived, as far as I'm concerned.
I love that because it resonates so much with me. There's so many questions I want to ask you based off this one last question. But I remember um, running completely out of money the first
Hmm.
time I started my business, like about to be homeless. And it was really hard. So I'd love for you to talk about this because it really had me questioning, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Because if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, shouldn't it be easier? Shouldn't I just be successful? What can you tell people that are looking to resurrect their dreams and go like, I want to be a painter, I want to be a writer, I want to travel the world, I want to ask that girl out, I want to ask for that promotion, I want to start my own business. What would you tell people when it gets hard?
Uh, when it gets hard, like, what I tell a lot of people, what I tell a lot of my own clients when it gets hard, right? Is this is where you get to make them cry, right? This is where you get to make everybody cry, right? You get to tell your story, right? And this is where you get to make them all cry. The truth is that I got announced to the world as a coach in a very public way, on a stage at a sold out personal development event, on video that's been viewed millions of times, right? I announced to the world as a coach in a very, very public way, and I talked about all of my fears in that moment and on that stage and on that and in that video. And I talked about my wife, and I talked about my life, and I talked about my kid, and I talked about worrying about running out of money, and I talked about all those things. And 6 months later, every single one of those things had come true, every single one of them. Like the my me starting out on my entrepreneurial journey cost my marriage, right? My wife, my ex-wife, signed up to be a chef's wife, not Tony Robbins' wife. And she was very clear. She's like, that's not the life I want. I see that that's where you're going, and that is absolutely where you should go, and I'm not coming. And I love you, and I support you, and I'm not following you. And okay, so like it cost my marriage, and I went broke, and I did all these things. And in my lowest moment, in the moment of everything that I had feared had come to pass, like everything that I was worried about had come to pass. I had never felt more energized. I had never felt more useful. I had never felt more whole. I had never felt more on my purpose than I had ever felt. And like it was like the money wasn't the point. The lifestyle wasn't the point. None of it was. I was safe. I had a shoddy place to lay my head, and I had a thing that I did that if I did the rest of my life and never eked out more than a modest living doing it, I would spend the rest of my life happy doing that. And that's really the thing is the it's the cost of giving it up that is greater, that was greater to me, right? So it's the cost of giving up, because for me failure looked like going back to a six-figure job, right? Failure looked like going back into professional kitchens. I have a great resume. Like like getting hired as a cook was never what I was worried about. I was worried about going back into professional kitchens. I was worried because that's what failure looked like. Failure looked like hanging this up. Failure looked like just going back to what I knew and doing the thing that was easy and doing the thing that felt mediocre and doing the thing that felt like whatever, and the truth is that I would never have been satisfied with any life that wasn't about what I currently do. And I get to touch people's lives. I get to touch people in a very, very personal way. I get to make people feel safe, and feel like they can move on. Uh, I get to help people reinvent and rebuild themselves in huge and powerful ways. You know, whatever, a lifetime doing this, even if it is not a financially lucrative life. And the truth is I do okay, like it's been okay for me. um and I get to travel, and I get to do cool shit, and I have a life that is reasonably comfortable. uh and if that was not the case, I would still be doing it. And so that's the real question, and that's the real question, that when you are at your lowest moment, like, cool, all right, so set this down and go be a barista at Starbucks, go get a job at Target, go whatever. You look, in about 3 years you can move through the ranks at Target. You can become a manager and make real decent money, right? You can make an okay living at Target, and you can hang clothes, or you can stock the grocery section, or you can manage the registers, and you can make you know 70, 80, 90 grand, go get a job at Costco. You can make, 70, 80, 90 grand. You can make reasonable money doing something that and if the money is the target, then go hit that target. For me, money wasn't the target, and for me, I can't, if I'm not doing this, I can't breathe. And if that is you, then we need to set the money aside. We need to set that success. We need to change that definition of success a little bit.
So great, because that literally is the next question. You just described what failure was to you. So for people that have maybe never gone into business before for themselves, they never felt like they could be in a place where they could achieve this dream, no matter how big or how small. What would you say to people who have this constant barrage of money is the marker for success? And we see it all the time with football players and basketball players and movie stars and pop stars. What would you say to people when there's this sort of built-in measuring stick just in life in general, like this is where you need to be or you're not successful? What would you tell people that can help them sort of or integrate a new definition of success?
I ask everybody, and including myself, like, what are markers of success for you, right? What are metrics that you can use that are markers that are meaningful to you, right? And then just go chase those metrics. For me, right? For me, the number one metric of my success is a sandal tan. If I have a sandal tan, meaning if I have a tan line on my foot from sandals, right? Meaning that I am outdoors and in sandals often enough to have a tan line on my foot, then I am living the life that I deserve to live. Like, that I absolutely have the quality of life that I want. If I have a sandal tan, then I absolutely have the quality of life that I want. And everybody's different. Not everybody wants a sandal tan. I mean, I know plenty of homeless people with sandal tans, and so not everybody, like that. But for me, that is a marker of success for me. And so I chase the amount of time that I get to spend outside. I chase the amount of time I get to spend traveling. If money is a marker for you, right? If money is a metric for you, there are lots of ways to make money that do not incorporate happiness as a part of it. Like I said, you can go get a job at Target, you go climb the ladder at Target, and you can make reasonable amounts of money, right? You can listen to all the Gary Vee podcasts. You can get out there, hustle your ass off, and go to what's it, yard sales, and start flipping stuff on eBay, and follow all of that money making hustle life. The grind set is the mindset life. And if money truly is your marker, then go chase them dollars, right? Go chase that cheddar. Go chase down that thing, right? If that is truly the thing that drives you, then go chase that, right? There's lots of ways to make money. You could be a crypto bro and you could start, playing with NFTs and all of it. None of that stuff makes any sense to me. I don't have that nearly the understanding about it that I should. Um, but money is not a driver for me. Exuberance is a driver for me. Joy is a driver for me. And sometimes my business is hard. And sometimes, I launch programs to absolute crickets and it doesn't work, and it fails and it falls and it doesn't work. Or I'll spend hours constructing this vulnerable and well thought out post with like a bulletproof call to action at the end of it, and it's like this. It should be this big hell yeah sort of thing, and I'll hit send, and then I'll watch it for 3 days, and you a half dozen of my clients, and my mom likes it on Facebook, and I'm like,
Right. I've had those too. It's like,
mom, stop liking my shit, please, come on, it's embarrassing, and like I gotta block my mom because there's nothing that hurts my feelings more than if nobody likes my stuff, and then along comes my mom a week later, like, oh, mom, stay away from my Facebook, but like, but those moments, they're so deflating, right? And I get it, and we have these moments, where they're so deflating, and I talk to my clients after these moments, right? And they're so deflated, and I'm like, so then quit. Starbucks is hiring, Target's hiring, Costco's hiring. There's a labor shortage in the United States, like you wouldn't believe. Go get a job, and every single one of them goes, can't. I don't want to. I'd rather I would rather struggle doing something that I love, you know, and I'm like, then find different metrics, right? Then find different metrics. Find the thing where find your sandal tan, or find, two clients a month, find minimal growth, find, one testimonial per client that just absolutely means the world to you, and change your metric for success.
awesome. I love that. All right, so we've got one question left. So, why is it important to have dreams and goals in life?
Because there's no waste in universal or energetic economy. And here's what I mean by that. So often, we come to, you have clients, and I have clients, and I have friends and people who come to me, and we start this question. I just don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know what my purpose is. Okay. And every organism on earth knows that it is supposed to fully express before it passes and dies, right? The acorn knows that the roots go down, the trunk goes up, the branches go out, leaves are green, right? And the acorn knows that the fullest expression of itself is a 250-year-old oak tree, right? Like, that is the fullest, and it provides, homes for animals, and it provides food for this, and and create, and every organism on earth knows it, that it's supposed to fully express before it passes. Humans are the only ones that question whether they're supposed to fully express. We're the only ones who go like, but am I supposed to really, like flowers fully flower, trees fully tree. Never in the history of dogs has a dog ever half-assed being a dog. Never, right? Like, dogs like dogs so exuberantly they knock shit over,
Yeah.
right? Like, right? And never has a dog ever questioned whether it's like dogging hard enough or dogging enough, right? Never. Humans do this. And I will say that your passions are a breadcrumb trail to your purpose, right? So when people ask me, like, so I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing, and my only question is, what do you love? Like, what lights you up? What sets you on fire? What creates that spark for you? What is it that you can't stop Googling? What is it you can't stop reading about? What is it you can't stop listening to? What do you bore your friends to death with talking about incessantly, because it's this thing that you can't stop learning about? By the way, that wouldn't be there if you weren't supposed to chase it. That wouldn't be there. Even from a pure, like engineering standpoint, right? You would never build a car that pulled so hard to the left that you had to break your arms to get it to go straight, right? It goes left because that's the way it's supposed to go. You're pulled in this direction because that's the direction you're supposed to go. I don't know if that particular thing is your purpose, but I know that following that thing will lead you to your purpose. Absolutely. Which is why
100%.
it's important to chase them. It's why it's important to follow them.
I love that because so many people, in my experience, and I even went through this, is, when I first started out, I thought that I would be working with men. But what I started to realize is that women were drawn to work with me. And so I had to let go of what I thought it should look like and what I thought I was going to be doing into, the whole process of follow the energy, follow, what, and that has made all the difference for me is letting go of what I think it should look like.
Right. Right.
Well, Dave, it's been amazing. Um, I appreciate you so much. I'm looking forward to your breathwork class tomorrow. So thank you for offering that. Before we go, I want to make sure people have all the different ways to access you and any special offers that you want to put out to people. So what have you got for us?
I'm super easy to find on Facebook. My name is Dave Gieselman, Giesel like diesel. And I'm real easy to find on Facebook, and I'll make sure, Brad, you have all the links. I have a breathwork is one of my primary tools in my coaching. It is a life changing modality, and I use it for a lot of different things. So what I do is I teach breathwork. My big giveaway is I teach breathwork a couple times a week for free, and I will make sure you have the links every Thursday, every Saturday. I teach breathwork for free on Zoom. You're in your living room, you're in your bedroom, and you're going to give me 90 minutes of your time. We're going to breathe heavily together for about 50 minutes. You are going to get high as hell. I'm going to change your life. You may do some crying. It's all good. It's totally safe. You're gonna get buzzy and you're gonna get tingly and you're gonna go to a different place. And when you come back from that place, you're gonna have some new awarenesses and some new insights. And then we can talk about that. So twice a week, I do breath work. You can find me on Facebook, Dave Gieselman. My breath work group is Breath Alchemy. Breath Alchemy, not the alchemy of breath. It's different dudes. I don't know them. I don't know what their drill is. It's probably cool. Check them out. Check them out too. But I am Breath Alchemy, and you can find me on my website, which is become-limitless.com. Become-limitless.com. Everything I do, everything I offer, is available on the website. Come check it out. Find me on Facebook. Shoot me a message. Say I heard about you. I'm Brad. Tell me about talk your shit. What do you do? And I'm happy to spend some time and talk to you about what I do.
Awesome, Dave. Thank you so much. I love you so much. I really am so grateful for you. Thank you for the years of friendship. Thank you for being here. And I will see you tomorrow morning.
Fantastic. I love you, brother.
All right. Love you too. Take care.
I'll see ya.